And we have Scott on. Love talking ball with Scott. And we got some football questions. We do got to pick some Scott's brain here. So please welcome in Scott Bischoff. Let's get him in here. Scotty's waiting right now. Scott, how you doing?
I'm good. I was not told the brain would be picked at. So good luck to you guys.
Yeah. Well, Scott, I do. Scott, I got to ask you because, and there's part of me, I made a video today and I really do believe this. I really do believe Jamal Adams this week with more snaps, another week of practice, getting more comfortable. You might not have Trevor Nowaski. I think Jamal Adams can make some plays this weekend. And I know he played 8 snaps, but I expect that to be doubled, maybe even tripled, whatever the number may be, 20, 30, 40, whatever it is, snaps. I can see Jamal. I mean, he's a hard hitter. He's great against the run. He can get after the quarterback. Am I crazy for expecting some plays this weekend from Jamal, or is it more like chill, Jeff? Jamal, he might just be a casual or a civilian this weekend. What do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think that with Onwuzurike and Pascal and Reeder, hopefully Reeder, I think he's coming back. But with those guys returning to give your D-line, it's normal, whatever it is, it's normal potency. That's going to free up a player like Adams to run a little bit. There is every opportunity for him to make more plays than he would have made last week when he was, he was probably dealing with a little more blocking, a little more, teams paying attention to what he was doing. But, Buffalo's O-line is good, but they're going to have their hands full with the Lions D-line in the running game kind of stuff. And then when you get to the passing game, the Lions are making it happen. I don't know how they're doing it. It's amazing. But yeah, I think Adams has an opportunity to be freed up in this game to just run. And specific to trying to chase down Josh Allen when he scrambles, that could be a very important part of what happens. Big deal.
Love that. Hey, Scott, I just want to ask you about a specific player. It's not a big-time player. It's a quiet player on this Detroit Lions defense who was hurt for a little bit. And I think the most that we've ever seen this player is probably his college film. But Broderick Martin last year obviously didn't have the greatest. It felt like a developmental year. And then coming into this year, obviously he's on the IR, and then the last few games he's played. Can I just see I just want to know where your thoughts are on the Broderick Martin situation, what he maybe potentially can still be for this Lions team, or if it feels like he's digressed and he's not really doing what we thought he would out of the draft.
So, coming in, he was just a gigantic person. That's the whole planet theory. How many people on the planet are as big as that guy, as strong as that guy, and move the way he does? And there's very few. I would say that there are issues with his confidence right now, and also with his aggression level. He is a huge, massive human being, but he doesn't play that way, right? So when you see him, you're expecting him to just be this menace, this unblockable guy. Whether that means he's getting to the quarterback, he won't, because that's not going to be his job. He's just going to be like a run plugger kind of player, but he doesn't do much of that. And I think some of that stuff is technical. It's pad level. There's a tendency in his game right now to kind of stand straight up, and leverage is king. And some of the players who are blocking him and trying to move him, when he stands up, they're under his pads, and it's making it easier for him to get moved off the ball. So it's a good question. It's obviously you're picking up that there's stuff going on with him, and it's good for you to see that. I do think that there's technical things. Maybe it could be stance related. There's a lot of things that could be going on, but he's definitely playing a more passive game than one would expect, for such a huge guy. That's kind of what I'm seeing from him.
Yeah. And kind of same question, just with a different player, a player that definitely had a lot of controversy and noise, especially coming into the season, Jameson Williams. Scott, we all were expecting Jameson Williams to take a jump, and outside of the volume that he's seen in his targets, what do you think has allowed Jameson Williams to really develop? Is it his route running, hands? Because I think hands have been more consistent than some people think up to this point. 4 games left in the season. What do you think has been JMO's secret to success so far this year?
100% his route running, and Jared Goff would tell you that too. Goff is not a player who's going to put the ball. He doesn't have much of a desire to put the ball into a dangerous place. And there's a little bit of danger when you don't know exactly what the kind of routes that a receiver is going to run. If it's a, every receiver's got to get the landmarks. And if you're not trustworthy to get to your landmarks, or if you're even what you would say maybe a little sloppy getting there, throws the timing off of everything. And Goff is just not going to throw there. So the fact that the season started with him trying to throw, trying to get JMO involved, and it's continued, tells you that he's working on his route running. He's become much more reliable in that phase of the game. And there's comfort between him and Goff. And that's a huge deal because it opens up everything. We've seen these deep crossing routes where he'll catch, a pass that gets thrown 15 yards downfield, but in the end, it's going to be a 70-yard touchdown because nobody can run with him. So, to me, that's it. It's his route running, the work that he put in to be more refined and technical and disciplined as a route runner, and it's showing. He's been a really good player for them.
Yeah, another thing we discuss a lot, Scott, is kind of the matchup here. Josh Allen, his legs, this line's defense, and I think the overs in consideration here. I think both offenses are going to kind of have their way. Yeah. What do you make, and just maybe specific things that stand out to you early about some matchup problems you think the Bills' offense can pose for this line's defense?
Well, their offensive line's aggressive. They want to move. They want to move you. I don't think that they're going to have tons of success running the ball. Ray Davis is a different kind of a runner than James Cook, so he might present some challenges because he's hard to get to the ground. So I mean, the running game is what it is, and I would hope that the Lions would be able to kind of stuff that and force the Bills into third and medium or third and long pretty regular in this game, and make it. I mean, if it's 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3, Josh Allen's just going to catch the shotgun snap, and if he doesn't like exactly what he sees immediately, he's just going to run for first down, and there's really nothing you can do to stop that. But if it's 3rd and 9, it's a bit of a different story, or 3rd and 8, whatever you want to call it. I do think you guys nailed it earlier. There's a huge advantage in their offense with Khalil Shakir. He's an incredible route runner over short areas, and he's open all the time. Mm-hmm. I don't think I'd worry too much about like Amari Cooper getting locked up by Terrion Arnold or Carlton Davis. And Dalton Kincaid's a good receiver as a tight end, but the Lions have been able to minimize that too. So the advantages are, to me, I hope I'm answering the question.
Yep.
The advantages are Allen running and generating, first downs that way. And then maybe a little bit of the short passing game with Shakir. I don't know if they're going to give Robertson a little bit of help there. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to play out, but that's where the advantages are. I'm sure that the Bills are going to want to try to establish the run. I don't know that they're going to be able to do that. And then it'll be, all right, we got to rely upon, Allen's legs. He's going to have to get some first downs for us. And we're going to have to push the ball down the field a little bit. And I think the Lions have some advantages there. But this is, again, tough matchup. It's a slugfest. It's a good time for the Lions to face this type of team. It's always good to challenge this. It's good for teams to sort of challenge themselves and see where they are when it comes to, playing with the big boys. And this is one of them.
Hey, I want to bring that up, just Scott, because just kind of going off the defensive side of the ball there. AG, I don't know if you've seen those press conferences he's been having and the rumors with him getting the head coaching job. What are your thoughts just as a whole with Aaron Glenn this year? How he's created this defense with all these injuries throughout the last 13 games, and essentially they're a top 5 defense even with all of these different injuries in and out. What are your thoughts on AG's job?
I would like him to come on over to my house and fix some of the shit we got going on here. I don't know how he's doing it, but it's almost magical. Like, they have so many players and important players on IR or in and out. Like last week, it was McNeil going out with I think was the jaw problem. I'm not positive about that, but I think that's what that was. I will say that for the first couple years here, I don't think he had the right kind of personnel to run the back end coverages that he wanted to run based on what his preferences were. They tried at times and failed. And then like even at the end of last year, they just settled on, all right, Cam Sutton, you're going to get beat for like 170 yards and a touchdown this week, and we're good with it. Right. The addition of Carlton Davis and Amick Robertson and drafting Terrion Arnold and letting him play. Terrion Arnold has played the most man coverage snaps in the NFL as a rookie this year. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
It really is. So, trusting him to do those kind of things and then having Branch and Kirby Joseph as your safeties really gives, a coordinator lots of flexibility to run the system that he's wanted to run all along. So my feelings and my thoughts is that we're starting to see glimpses of the kind of defense that he really wanted to run the entire time he's been here. He just hasn't had the personnel to do it. Phenomenal job, though. What else? There are no other words. It's incredible what they're doing.
And flipping to the other side of the ball now, Scott, now more so with Ben Johnson. Not so much what Ben has been doing, but what were your takeaways when you see the absence of Taylor Decker? Do you think that they kind of performed better than you expected, worse than you expected? What were they doing schematically that kind of shocked you? What were your takeaways from that absence of Taylor Decker being out?
So the first week Decker was out, the takeaway was this is not going to go well. Skipper did not play well. Mm-hmm. It was obvious that Stafford was rattled and was sort of it's like a mind game. Like if he was expecting pressure, he was playing like there was going to be pressure, whether it was there or not. And it's blind side. So I'm sure there's a level of discomfort there, but Skipper's played better over the last couple of games. And, I do think that it's limited their ability to stretch the field with the passing game, but it certainly hasn't hurt them, up until this point, it had a little bit, but you threw up 30 plus on Green Bay. That was a good offensive performance. They didn't stall out too much in the red zone. They did some good things. So, I would still say this, that I think Skipper presents a problem in that Goff doesn't fully trust that he's protected on his blind side. So there's a little bit of let's get rid of the ball quicker. I'm not saying it's panicky or any of that kind of stuff, but it's definitely the offense is a little more limited with Skipper playing left tackle, even though he did play really well last week. It's just it's a touch more limited and maybe a little more short throwing, which I think is really good for Detroit. They're not going to bust off these 20 and 30 yard gains, but they might go for 10 or 12 and they're going to move the chains and they're going to be just fine.
Yeah. Well, in your kind of feeling now early, what do you think in terms of the outcome here? Score prediction. What do you think? Lions, Bills, high scoring. Where are you at? Where are you at, Scout? Your confidence?
I think it'll be high scoring. I don't know if you guys watched the Rams take apart the Bills defense last week.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think the Bills defense is really set up to defend some of the things that the Lions like to do. I could see all of their like Ed Oliver and the other defensive tackles and I could see some of these guys getting stuck inside and not being able to chase the ball. So there's a scenario there where you run a little bit off tackle and all the interior D-line guys are just kind of stuck in the middle there. And then it's, you're into the second level, and we've seen it in the past, what both of these running backs can do in space. So I would expect the Lions to be able to run the ball pretty effectively against Buffalo. I just don't think that they're built to stop the run all that effectively. And then DeMar Hamlin, Taylor Rapp, and Rasul Douglas are all none of those guys have practiced so far. And I know Buffalo's had a weird practice week because they had snow and they didn't think they had like a Zoom walkthrough kind of a deal today. But those guys haven't practiced yet. And if they're out, huge advantage, Detroit. So, the Lions have kind of put this thing together, and they can do so many things on offense, and they can hurt teams so many ways, a variety of ways running the ball, and whether it's short to intermediate to deep throwing, all that throwing over the middle of the field is really tough to defend. I think the Lions on offense can do just about whatever they want to do. And it's just a matter of can they kind of pull the reins back on Josh Allen and just kind of keep him under control. That's going to be the thing. A week ago, I would have told you I would have penciled this. I would have put this in pencil as a loss. And after the way that game played out last Thursday, and then having, the 10 days off before playing again, and knowing that I think you're getting Reeder back, I think McNeil plays, you're getting Onwuzurike back, you're getting Pascal back. I think I was thinking about this as maybe a game that I would think they would lose, but I don't feel like that anymore. And maybe I don't. And maybe that has to do with the fourth down conversion and the way that whole thing went. Some teams would lay an egg this week after the emotional high of what they went through last Thursday, but this team is not built like that at all. If anything, I think it's, put the gas pedal down quicker, harder, whatever, and keep it there, play harder. Campbell's got so much buy-in from those guys because he's taking their suggestions. He's putting important decisions upon them too. Like, hey, do you guys want to go for it? It's not just about me. We're all making this choice together kind of thing. And the culture there and the buy-in he's got in that dressing room, it's incredible. So yeah, I mean, a week ago, I did think that this was probably going to be a loss, but I've come full circle on that. And I kind of expect them to win, not going away or anything, but I kind of expect them to put to offensively kind of beat up on Buffalo pretty good.
Love that.
I want to actually, because someone just put in the chat, and actually I love your opinion. Coach just said, when's Mosely coming back? He's not on the injury report. What because we've had this back and forth, like we've discussed. What do you think about Eman Mosely returning, and what kind of impact do you think he makes? I'm curious.
Well, it's been so long since he played, and then he played, one snap last year and tore his ACL. I would imagine that he is I would think that they have him penciled to be an outside corner, but he could be, an extra defensive back in certain scenarios, if you go dime kind of thing.
Yeah.
He could also play slot corner and give you a different look than Amick can. But it's been kind of odd that he's been ready to go and hasn't played, so I'm not sure exactly. Maybe they're just trying to kind of slowly get him in. I don't know. It's a good question. I don't have an answer.
No, all good. Appreciate you as always. Hey, appreciate you as always, Scott, joining the fellas, taking time.
Let's go, Scott.
Yeah, it's always good talking to Scott, man.
It's fun joining you guys. It's a cool thing you guys are doing.
Hell yeah!
I appreciate it.
Hell yeah!
Appreciate it.
Check him out next. Bischoff_Scott doing some great work. Scott, we'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
Appreciate you, Scott.
Scott
Appreciate you,
Bischoff. Yeah, you know what, dude? He's actually Scott's been joining the fellas for a while. Hey, what's going on there? It's Jeff Iafrate. Appreciate you for finishing the video. You can check out one of the videos here suggested or show support by commenting, liking, and subscribing. And buy your merchandise, officialctsports.com.